Hello, folks, and we are back for more Trials action. We are in Overwatch. More specifically, we're in Havana. Nice, enjoying the weather here. Nice and sunny, as you can see behind us. Sir Waltham and Dryad ready to bring you this game between Redbird Esports and Avidity. Dryad, what's our take on these teams throughout Trials?
Oh, I mean, we can talk about Redbird and everything that they've done. The only team that so far has gone undefeated, a team that everyone is talking about, amazing players, recognized all over Overwatch in every single tier, very well known for their contenders performance in different teams. And even at the top level for tier 1, a lot of those pro players really know who Redbird Esports is. So they already represent a threat. And on the other hand, we have Avivity to start it off. Both of the teams going against each other. Avivity has been doing well, but now they are facing, let's say, the final boss here. And, oh, welcome.
A little bit of internet issues, but I'm sure that's no big deal here. Connection's a little bit spotty in Havana. We're right next to the distillery. We're just chilling for right now. But no, you're absolutely right. Avidity had a little bit of spotty performance throughout this Trials, and currently, right now, before this game goes underway, if my math is correct, they sit at 4th.
Yeah.
And that is such an unfortunate spot to be against this Redbird Esports team. As we know, you and I, Dryad, the top 4 teams will move on into Contenders, and with Avidity going up against Redbirds, it gives them an incredible chance to get knocked out of their number 4 position and therefore out of Contenders. That's not a spot these teams want to be in.
Yeah, it is, like you said, it is the final boss because no one so far has been able to defeat Redbird. They've been doing so well from beginning to end. Every single match, every single map, they've been highlighted from their amazing players, their amazing plays as well. And so Avivity doesn't have the best last match, but they're going to give it their all. They want to have a chance here because while we have these matches going on today on stream, there's going to be a match going on off stream that could define who is going to get that 4th place, which is so important here in Trials. And it's going to be the match off stream is going to be Drifters against Noble. Both of them have been struggling a lot, but this is their last chance. And so Avivity, they really need to win to stay in that top 4.
Yeah, you want to win, or at the very least, take a couple maps off of Redbird. That's tough. That's even a feat that we haven't seen teams be able to do quite yet. But if you're able to get a couple maps in your favor, or in the very least hope that it's a stomp from the Drifters Noble game, you can come out looking to be the higher of the 2 teams who didn't quite make it this time around. But who knows, there's still a lot of action to be had. As we do take a look at the maps we will be going into, we can see that Ilios is going to be up first as our control map.
Yeah, Ilios has started off, and that is already looking a little bit different to all of the control maps that we've seen throughout Trials. And with the map that we start with Ilios, more than anything, I think this is one of the most interesting maps to watch because anything counts. Anything can work out. A lot of the teams like to run the dive a little bit more, the Winston, the Diva as well, the Wrecking Ball sometimes. But honestly, we can see any sort of composition being run here. It's more of those control maps, which it's only a few of them. They're more meta dependent than a specific meta inside of the map.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I liked all the time to say, Dryad, that within Control, there's this mindset within Overwatch where, each of the maps is kind of played a little bit differently. And I think the 2 maps that represent that best are Lijiang Tower and Ilios. Of course, Ilios has those ruins, those long sight lines that you can see. Those hit scan players tend to break out the Widowmaker in patches past. You can see a little bit more of the CC style comps with Well, where you see a lot of Orisa Hogs trying to manipulate Pharahs as well. Lucio's trying to manipulate opponents into those pits. But overall, it's going to be very dependent on what these teams are comfortable with, as now we take it to that well I was talking about.
And that's also the thing, right? You mentioned what things are going to be comfortable with, but for Redbird, I mean, they can play pretty much anything. They proved us this on their performances in Contenders, now in Trials, even in Open Division when they were running. So they're able to do anything that they want. It seems like we talked about, the compositions might be looking a little bit different. The Wrecking Ball, the dive is going to be highlighted more. But more than anything, then the thing that catches my attention is what the DPS are going to be. That is where we see the most differences right now in the meta in Overwatch. A lot of the Echoes, a lot of those flying heroes, but also a lot of the McCree that can stun and shut down this Echo every single time.
Yeah, quite interesting to see that rock, paper, scissors play go into effect here, but Redbird's going to be looking to run something a little bit faster. They're going to be running that Winston Diva going right out onto the field, as now we can see this Echo getting set up on high, trying to cut down a couple of different angles, at least divert the attention of Avidity's DPS. We can see the Hanzo already firing a couple of logs, not quite able to find too much, and Reiner with a really good position here, taking that high ground. Anybody that pushes through from the side of Avidity has to take a little bit of that cleave damage unless they reroute, which is exactly what we're seeing here. Seeker actually able to get the first kill. This is looking good for Avidity so far. 2 down for Redbird. They don't quite have that point control yet, and with the sleep dart onto the Wrecking Ball, that's a little less control they're going to have onto the field. And just like that, with the res, Redbird's completely turned the tide of this. Both tanks from Avidity getting hit by the anti-nade. Going to make it very difficult for them to sustain that. Roadhog using that breather just for the damage reduction at this point.
And the number advantage was going for the side of Vivity, but they completely lost it. It was Redbird. Like you said, with the rest, and that was going to be enough. That's amazing from what we saw from Lucamino. Being able to build those ultimates so fast, being able to push forward. Now they're going to have the pulse bomb to even make it a lot easier for them to push in. It's going to be harder, but they still have the opportunity to shut down that Ana before the Nano comes in.
Hydron tries to go out with the pulse bomb, doesn't quite find their query, but not going to bother them too much, especially with Seeker going down. That means that Tracer can now get a lot more value. Reiner actually cutting 2 down all on their own. This Winston looking a little bit like a madman right now with 3 kills on the board.
Yeah, all the kills going in exactly like we expected from this team. A lot more ultimates to use that can initiate next fight. With the Nano, they are also going to have the duplicate. But one of the things that highlight this team from Redbird is that they don't need to use a lot of ultimates at once. Maybe one is going to be enough, and the enemy team is always feeling pressured by the DPS line, by the tank line, who has really, really good synergy.
Keep an eye out now as this Echo looking for their duplicate target potentially here. It's going to be Reiner actually taking a sleep dart. The Anas go down for each side, but Avidity is left without any supports. Now with this, it looks like Redbird's just going to be looking to capitalize on that advantage and using 2 ults, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, only a couple ultimates that are being used, and the ultimates on the other side invested for this side of Avidity did not seem to be enough. But now they're going to walk in both of the tank ultimates available, also the sound barrier, which they can use as a tool to go in, and that is really the last opportunity here.
Diva Bomb goes in high. Echo taken down before the bomb pops. Hydra getting them with a little melee finish there. Avidity has a lot of ultimates, but they can only make it work if they get anywhere near capitalization onto Redbird's weaknesses, and Redbird's not showing their hands just yet, hiding very carefully. Fishcake dropping the sound barrier, but only catching 2 with it. A very unfortunate spot as well. That minefield by Matt March might not be well placed in that small confined room that Redbirds can just absolutely avoid as the rest of their team gets torn up by these DPS. We see now that overtime is slowly ticking down. Nothing left from Avidity, no gas left in the tank, and just like that, well goes quick in the blink of an eye. Now, as we look towards our next map, we have to wonder, does Avidity make any changes? Do they tend to evaluate their mindsets here? Overall, this composition did not quite work out in the way they wanted. We saw Soko get a couple of hooks, resulting in a couple kills, but by that point, it was far too late. Redbird's just being too aggressive, not letting them get onto that point. We're seeing a couple changes come out from Redbird Esports. We see Ultraviolet on that Zenyatta, a very good call if you're knowing that there's not going to be any shields. So far, Avidity did not run a shield. They didn't run the Rhine, the Winston. Instead, they're sticking it with the Hog and Ball for right now. We'll see if they continue with that trend, especially considering the Zenyatta and the Brig. The Brig to be so essential at canceling the speed of the ball, canceling the abilities of the Hog. They do have a lot of long-range hit scans, so the good opportunities to come through here as Redbird slowly going to be making their way to point. Echo taking up high, doesn't quite land their shots. Going to be missing just a few, by a hair, if you will. Now the shot's going to be going in, causing some pressure to go on to Reiner. Has to back out for a moment, taking that breather. And Matt Mark on this Wrecking Ball, forcing out that Tracer, perhaps more essentially taking down that Rewind, but just like that, barely able to recover with the pile driver. Excellent performance there. Redbirds, however, just have too much power on their side.
Yeah, it's just the numbers. Once again, going for the side of Redbird every single time, no matter what Avidity tries to do, no matter what composition they want to bring so far. I mean, look at that. It's Hydron getting the last kills, even getting really close to that spawn. They have the confidence for the side of Redbird Esports that they're able to win this, and they should also be getting those ultimates first. I mean, look at Avidity. They don't have anything. Maybe the Nano will be the only thing coming out for the next fight.
That bruiser in Reiner's going to be taken out of the fight early on. Ultraviolet stunned, but not quite able to be capitalized on. Fishcake just gets lasered down by Hydron and Iron. Oh, the Pulse Bomb almost catches Hydron, but has the wherewithal to use the Blink, avoiding it, and Redbirds continues this run.
They keep it going every single time. I mean, you see at Vivity, they're trying to put the pressure into points so that Redbird Esports can look away from their spawn just for a little bit, but that is just not going to be the case. Vivity are going to have a lot more difficulty if they have the opening here. The Renko has the Nano to go in, giving it to one of the tanks might be what they're looking for, but still, it is not going to be enough until you shut down the tanks from the enemy team.
Oh, and Reiner looking a little weak here, actually trying to go for the hook onto the ball, but Soko there to back up their team. Goes for the reload, gets the Nano, but right now just can't catch anybody out. However, able to get one more, and now with this Avidity has some point presence, has to use that whole hog to break the Zarya bubble, push her away, just to try to get a little bit of relief. It looks like Avidity might be able to get the point flipped here, and that's essential.
This is the first time that we see this happen, though, and it is going to be difficult. They can't lose any fight, or Redbird is going to get past a 90%, making it last fight territory. Good Anthony there going into the duplicate, but it's still enough pressure to deny any sort of possibility from a Vivity who have to back up now.
A whole hog and a Transcendence mean that Redbird can get a lot of space and push Avidity away if they don't choose to just take their own path out, but like that, Avidity still getting a couple of kills. Matt Merck throwing the flashbang over the Orisa shield, trying to keep their team alive. Not going to quite happen. Goes for a pretty optimistic high noon. Still managing to keep possession of this point. That is essential. If Redbird gets it, that means one less fight in the pocket of Avidity. But so far, looking very good. Seeker with a nice flashbang onto the headshot of Luke Camino. And just like this, Avidity look like they might be good for another team fight here, especially with that Echo being taken out.
This is all Seeker that we're seeing right now. Getting the kills, maintaining control of the point. Really good job now from Vivity, making it just not giving up just yet for this team. Well, Redbird Esports, they're getting taken down. Their tanks, their DPS, and more importantly, their supports that got taken down right at the beginning delayed a little bit of this fight. And Vivity might be passing this percentage in the next fight, especially with that rally.
Yeah, Redbird has to be very careful here in the prior fights, as in the last fight we saw them just kind of trickling in their manpower, but that's not the way you want to go. You want to take these full team fights. Ultraviolet going down means that Ana's not going to be able to build up that nano boost that could be so essential, especially as we get in towards these last few points. But Redbird's getting a kill, and the res turns things in their favor, and just like that, the fight is broken out. Sam looking to get the headshot onto the Ana despite the nade, and with that taking down both supports, the point flips.
It is the McCree against the McCree, seeing who was able to stay on top, and so far it seems like Sam is going to be on top for the Redbird Esports. A couple ultimates as well is going to be the Deadeye and that Nano going for this team, putting in the last fight territory for this map, and to guarantee the first map potentially going for Redbird Esports.
Looking very good for Redbird. Somebody from Avidity has to touch that. Widowmaker's a risky gambit, considering you're not going to have that manpower on the point. We hear the high noon come out from Sam. This stick not going to quite be landing. Hydron able to get away with barely any life left. Doesn't have the revive. Eventually going to be winged by the whole hog. Sam going to be plunging the hammer into that brig, as now we see the few remaining scraps from Avidity trying to hold themselves steady. That Roadhog can do all they want, but there's not enough gas in that canister to bring them to life. With this, it's going to be the Sigma Gravitic Flux coming in. Avidity picked off Redbirds. Going to be taking Ilios in our first.
It got very difficult towards the end for the side of Vivity to try to make anything happen, and Redbird already getting their first map. Very good, but they made some mistakes. They were feeling really confident, not all of them working together, and that is why Vivity was able to take control of that map for just a little bit. And it's all about keeping that momentum. Vivity, like we said, they know they have a difficult match. They know no one has been able to beat their enemy, and so they have to really give their best. We saw at the end also the Wrecking Ball trying to get a kill, but at the end he wanted to touch the point for a little bit longer to guarantee another fight, at least another possibility, another chance. And this is what you're hoping for. Any sort of chance, any sort of opening that you find for your team, you have to take and you have to hold on to it.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And if you're looking at positives for the side of Avidity, furthermore, I think we saw a couple players really stand out, really feeling their game today. I want to talk about that McCree play we saw on Ilios, looking really sharp there, really refined, and give them an opportunity perhaps to leverage that in future maps. They do have their options for pick as we look ahead. But Dryad, knowing that we really saw Seeker performing on that McCree, do you think there's a map they pick that kind of inclines them to that?
Yeah, I mean, McCree right now is one of those heroes that you're able to play for pretty much any map that we see. I mean, you have the possibility, but the thing that I'm worried about is that McCree also worked out well because it was countering the echo from the enemy team. But we're not going to see echo for every single map, so that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult to try to see when the McCree is going to be effective against those flying heroes and when it is not going to be. And well, Route 66, that is actually one of the maps that we see those flying here is that the Farah, the Echo being highlighted a little bit more. So there it is. There's the possibility for Redbird or for Avivity to try to bring them up. And because that is really what it seems like it's going to be the duel. It is going to be both of the McCrees going against each other. Who's going to be able to get those kills first, those ultimates even first, just to create the space for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Route 66, I like to consider it has the soft McCree lore buff where, McCree from the route of 66 going to be getting a little bit of that aesthetic bonus, if you will, to your performance, perhaps. But again, if both of these teams choose to run it, I'm expecting a high-intensity match between Redbird Esports and Avidity, regardless of what the scorelines in the past have said.
Yeah, absolutely, and it can't be said enough. This is a very difficult match for Vivity, but they already gave us a good indication. It was at least taking control of the point for a little bit from the side of Redbird, and Redbird also, yeah, sure, they're confident. They know they're going to qualify to Contenders, but that might give them a little too much confidence against Avivity, who has been doing really good as well. And that is, again, the opportunity that Avivity was waiting for. They need to take advantage of any sort of opening and hold on to it to see what they can do, how long they can hold a point, and even take a couple of those maps.
Yeah, it's very interesting you say that, Dryad, where the dominance of Redbird so far might lead them to be a little bit more complacent in these back few games, which might give Avidity the opportunity to strike, but we're only going to find out when this map counts down.
Ready for battle.
And it's a question, again, of the compositions that we might be seeing for the side of Redbird. They were actually the first team that I saw here in trials right at the beginning when we had the opportunity to cast on the second day, who were playing that Roadhog, and now a couple other teams are trying to run and see what they can do with it. Roadhog is a very difficult hero to make work out for your team. Is more of that individual performance that might be highlighted. Still very risky to make it work out, but for now, Redbird Esports are going to play. It seems like that double shield on the high ground, very, very standard here.
Yeah, you can say that it's the tactical pick, but I'm just saying that nobody wants to play main tank anymore. Now, with that, doors are so close to opening, and we'll get to see what these compositions are going to be looking like. Redbird going to be running that double shield composition up onto the high ground. No big surprise there. Big Earl's one of the more dominant spots to hold. As we see Avidity going in with the Farah, perhaps looking to get some sort of dislodge there with those concussive blasts. The opportunity to shake Redbird Esports might be very powerful here. We see that concussion go out. Doesn't really knock anybody off the high ground. A little bit too early, perhaps, for Avidity to get that kind of aggression. Echo taking a few shots, but Fishcake there to continually keep them healed up. And a nice dislodge onto the Orisa. Reiner not going to quite be shaken, however. As soon as Echo drops onto the ground, though, Hydran, they're ready to feast. And now looking to turn their attention towards the Roadhog, that Mercy in a danger zone, but has that big, meaty tank to keep her safe.
And I like how the side of the defense, they decide to drop here. They don't want to give them this corner, which is so important for the attackers, for Avivity. Oh, but Iron going really low, actually getting taken down there. Any hook, that is why the Roadhog can be so detrimental.
And Soko actually having some really good awareness there to take down that immortality field as soon as it hits. But Mattenberg actually getting caught as soon as they go for the breather, so not going to have that healing. Will allow them to be taken down in the tunnel. And just like this, Avidity may have allowed themselves to get a little bit too split with that hog, the flank hog, not necessarily coming to fruition in the way they wanted. Redbirds continuing to find the targets, especially looking at that Hanzo play.
Yeah, it's just those headshots that can come in with the hand. So the one-shot potential that is so fun to see in Overwatch, and they're going to make it work for a little bit longer. Amplification Matrix is going to be available now for Redbird Ultraviolet, already having it. Against, you're going to have the Nano from Renko, but that might not be enough, even giving it to the Winston now.
Certainly might not be enough as we look towards Avidity. Soko going to be using that kinetic grasp early on, and Avidity hesitant to even get out of these spawn doors for the time being, it seems, and we can once again see them being a little bit split. That Winston and company taking the high ground. Seeker try to throw out those dragons, doesn't find too much, but sections off Sam going to be able to take down that Hanzo player. Now, with the Sigma looking so dangerously low, all it takes is a little bit of attention. The nice headshot on the Seeker with the sleep dart. Credit really goes to Renko on that one. just like this, and things are looking good, but Redbird still managing to take a couple kills in their favor. Again, the lack of coordination that seems to slightly come through from Avidity might be their downfall here in comparison to Redbirds.
Ultraviolet actually was clutching the situation for Redbird, getting 2 kills, being the opener for the fight, and giving this team another chance on the defensive. Rallying once again is going to be available. This is a very strong ultimate to deal with for the next couple fights. And so Vividi, they're getting the picks, but they're not able to push in until everyone gets taken down from the enemy team.
Oh, and a whip shot onto Matt Mark prevents that Winston from diving in. Iron, however, going to be stopped from hitting the accretion. The healing going out onto that Hanzo, trying to keep their team alive, is Avidity. And again, Hydran on this Tracer just prevents this team from getting aggressive because you're always having to look behind you. Iron has that Gravitic Flux. Probably won't need it for this fight as we already see Avidity on the back, but they're going to use it anyway.
Yeah, there it is. It's just that confidence that they're able to get the kills, and it is only those tanks able to get 2. Rainer is able to get 2 with the Wreck. Now make it 3, and just having that control every single time. Amplification once again going to be available. They're just rotating those ultimates for Redbird, and they're working out perfectly for this team. Only 30 seconds remaining for Avivity to make something happen.
They do have a couple of ults in their pocket. Keep an eye out for that nano boost, probably to go on to Matt Merck by that primal rage in time. The Dragons once again going high, sweeping through tunnels, making sure that that Tracer can't wrap around as neat, as clean. They don't realize that the Tracer's on top of them, however. As we can see, the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball both have to make a quick extraction. It's going to be the nano boost going out onto Matt Merck. That cleave damage can only do so much if you're within range. And now, just like that, the Storm Dragons, or the Dragon Strike's going to be going out. And the duplicate actually going on to the Brigitte, looking to perhaps get that rally early on. Not sure if that's going to be wise, considering they still have to stay cart, make sure somebody is there to push it. Overtime is only going to tick down faster, Dryad.
Yeah, there's no time remaining. All the kills coming through for this Redbird Esports, and the attackers not really having any chance to be able to get even that first point. This is terrible for Vividi, as they were trying to take the payload as far as they could. Not able to, using every single ultimate multiple times, being completely ineffective. They were getting the kills. We saw a lot of kills going on for this team. Even had the number advantage multiple times for Redbird. They were able to clutch every single time.
Yeah, Redbird, they always seem to lose that first member, but Avidity was not quite able to capitalize on it. You highlighted it perfectly in the match where there was just that little bit of hesitance, and it's not because of Avidity's passiveness there. It's because Redbird just always made them keep their head on a swivel. I'm particularly looking at Hydran on that Tracer. What an amazing play.
Yeah, it's a really good job, and once again, I want to highlight what we saw from Ultraviolet on the Baptiste. The Baptiste plays that you're able to get with the amplification and with the rest of your abilities are one of those that are able to highlight this hero more than anyone else, especially on the support. And this is exactly what Ultraviolet does. Knows exactly when to get the kills, when to go for those heals for the rest of the team, especially because, I mean, even playing with Luke Mina on this break, you know you're not going to have a lot of heals, so it's all depending on the heals given by the Baptiste, but also putting that damage, putting the pressure into the enemy team, giving that confidence that Redbird, they're not going to have to take the payload too far to win.
And it looks like Avidity will tend to learn from their mistakes. They're going to be bringing out Seeker on that Torbjorn, perhaps to try to stifle Hydran on that Tracer, make it so much harder for the Tracer to get into the back lines and get into those vulnerable flanks of Avidity. We see it being placed rather late around that bend, meaning the cart's not going to have much to move beyond that. Now these teams are starting to exchange blows, but again, Avidity not really gathered up as a collective group. We can see the tanks up onto the high ground, trying to maintain that dominance of Big Earls, but there's only so much you can do from that position. As that cart already starting to make its way there, Fishcake looking to regroup with their team. Nobody falling just yet, but Macmerk is in a dangerous spot, getting pushed up on by that Tracer, who then turns their attention elsewhere. With Renko going down, this might be the death knell for this side of Avidity, especially as the rest of the members keep falling. Macmerk trying their best to hold it, but there's only so much you can do against a force like Redbird.
A second map that happened so fast. I mean, blink and you miss it already. Going for this side of Redbird every single time. I only had to move the payload a little bit, and I was also questioning the positioning from Avidity. They knew that it was going to be difficult. They knew that getting any sort of positioning, getting those kills for so much longer, it was not going to be an easy task. And so They make a couple changes, they make a couple adaptations. They even go Risa, which is a very good hero to hold
Mhm.
those sites. But even then, it is just not enough, and it's already match point. What is happening?
Yeah, I mean there is no rest for either of these teams. One team really trying to make something happen, really trying to work and adapt, which I think we're seeing from Avidity fairly well, but Redbirds just looks a little bit too practiced with what they run. They look a little bit too coordinated to really allow Avidity to make those changes on the fly. However, we'll see if maybe this mid break can give them a little bit of a mental refresh, if they can come back stronger. Stick around, folks. We'll conclude Redbird versus Avidity. All right, folks, here's the facts. Redbird up 2-0 against Avidity. Avidity having some good fights, but not good enough. They need to shape it up for this back half of the broadcast here for them. Dryad, how do you think they do it?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they are getting the kills. They're even opening the fights a lot of the times. But then it's a matter of following up with those kills. And that is where they're having a lot of difficulty. And they already show they have the potential to do so. They won the fight that we saw on the first map. But now it's a matter of really capitalizing out of those first kills every single time. Because that's going to give them the fight. That's going to give them the point. That's going to give them their ultimate, potentially the map, but it's just a thing that comes. You get one, then you get the other, so it has to be in that order to make it happen. And it's gonna be a reverse sweep as well. So 3 maps in a row for Avidity if they want to take control of this.
And that map win is going to have to come on Numbani to start. And even then, that's going to be a little bit questionable. Going to be tough for them, but Numbani, a map that has certainly not seen its fair share of surprises. But Dryad, speaking about surprises, is there anything you expect to not surprise us moving forward?
I mean, in terms of what we can expect as well in Numbani, the McCree has been one of those heroes that we've seen every single time. It is very well known. In Numbani, I think it depends a little bit on what composition you want to run, but I don't think there's really going to be any surprises coming through. And especially because Redbird Esports are able to get away with the Orisa if they want to, with the Sigma as well. So a lot of those very standard compositions and heroes that we can expect from this map are probably going to be seen. I don't think, even if it's the last match that they're going to have, I don't think we're going to see anything fully unexpected.
Well, that is certainly good to hear. A little bit of competitive integrity going into this match, but overall, very excited. As you know, those who stay and think about the maps a little bit, Numbani very good on that first point for something a little bit more dive, a little bit more vertically emphasized. You got your Winstons, your Divas, your Echoes, something like that, where you can hold the high ground on those defenses. We usually see it come out with some pretty good success.
And the Pharah is one of those heroes that we haven't seen as much of recently, but compared to, I mean, Echo that we already saw today, and we've seen throughout trials, throughout contenders, throughout open division because of how effective it can be. But the thing is that we saw it from Redbird Esports before, and the duplicate, even though it's a very strong ultimate, it wasn't even the most important thing that we saw. There were a lot of other kills going on at the same time that didn't allow the duplicate to be highlighted as much. So there is a possibility more than anything from this Echo, not so much to talk about the ultimate, but about the damage that you can put, and of course the pressure that you can put from the air.
Yeah, I mean, Echo, one of those great spam characters. Normally when you say spam characters, you think, projectiles like, explosives, you think Junkrat pills, you think Pharah rockets, you think Hanzo arrows. But Echo can throw down quite a bit of damage in a lot of different areas that just make it so threatening to pass through. We're going to see if that's going to be the case. No Echo on the board for Avidity yet. They might be swapping out Echo on the Bastion. Not quite sure about that one. However, it looks like they're going to be leaving spawn with it. I see the plan here now. Seeker going to be going onto this sim, looking to get that Bastion located into some pretty convenient spots for them. However, they'll be sided out by Redbirds rather quickly. They're going to be taking the low ground, trying to get themselves positioned, and immediately trying to use that teleporter up on high. Seeker going a little bit ahead of their tanks and gets absolutely punished for it. We do see Echo taking the high ground as well, able to get positioned, but that sets them up for a nice and easy sleep dart. Fishcake going to be taking the anti-nade on the back end of that. And right now, Sam able to just cut away at that shield from those odd angles that the Bastion can't quite hit. Now, it's Hydrant trying to focus onto that Baptiste, not quite able to get the catch with it. Already we're seeing dragons come out, and Redbird Esports are dropping, and this has looked like a good call from Avidity.
Only 40 seconds to get those dragons. That is a very well performance that we saw as well. Well, it was a duplicate actually happening. That is in control to Avidity to take control of the point, and it seems like it's happening. Their recontest not really there. Last opportunity here.
Oh, the Nano tried to go out onto Reiner, but gets halted or boop. Soko has that turbocharge to give their team a little extra punch, but has to survive long enough to bring it out. It's not going to quite be the case. It looks like Redbird are just trying to buy as much time as they can. Avidity allowing Renko to get sent into the backlines, but the point still hasn't been captured. That was so close.
This is just a narrative for this map and this match that we've been watching. It's just every single time it is so close. But Redbird Esports, they're able to come back just in time. It seems like they were not able to. I mean, look at how close it was from them capturing the point. But now, at least they have a couple ultimates that they were able to get in that first fight for ability. And with that, they can push in even with the sound barrier to play more aggressive, or that's another way. I mean, Seeker on the Genji.
And a good opportunity there. Seeker taking down 2 on that Genji. Matt Merck now going to be taking position on point as a good tank should. Now looking to just keep the enemies at bay as Seeker continuing to dive away. And it's going to be the first point capped for Avidity. They're going to be at least a little bit happy about that.
This is one of the keys on this map because holding second point becomes very, very difficult no matter how good your team is on defense. And also Seeker is ulting. Okay, he's going in the meantime, having that confidence, trying to create the space for the team, getting a couple kills as well.
Did try to get the kill onto the Ana, couldn't quite make it, but Fishcake has their back ready to knock that Ana away, and this is good from Avidity. They don't want to let Redbird get recomposed.
Yeah, the question is how long is it going to take for Seeker to build this ultimate again? This is a question that we want to have because they want to build it before the second point to have another opportunity to take everyone down. And also because they want to shut down Redbird Esports before they catch up onto on this composition with the Genji.
And Hydra has that pulse bomb in pocket, deciding that they don't want to use it just yet. Wait for the cart to get to the most inconvenient place possible, or just take down Renko. No immortality field, no big healing available. That Reinhardt brought dangerously low, but Matt Merck's just a melee away.
It has to be a reset happening once again for this attacking team. That is not going to work out. Look, using the Valkyrie as well, trying to create some more space. But once again, the kills coming through for Redbird. And this is the question that I had. Seeker still not very close to that ultimate, not very close to the blade to being used. And also doesn't have the nano, doesn't have a mercy as well for the Valkyrie. Doesn't even have for the damage boost. Doesn't really have anything. So Seeker's just trying to go for this blade without anything else.
Not going to need too much. The Mercy gets away. Luke Mito actually able to use that Guardian Angel for a moment, but the reverse pin coming in from Matt Merck helps to turn the tides just a little bit here. That Echo not able to find too much with the Genji, not able to bring up a blade. Looks like that might be a little bit of trouble there. The Diva Bomb goes and forces the side of Avidity back and into an uncomfortable situation. And Seeker now looking to play the opportunity of distraction here.
If Redbird Esports is able to hold this point, this is going to be the first time in months that I see it happening. There's a couple kills though, but once again, it is all about the kills, not so much about controlling the point. And once again, it's Hydra getting the kills that toward the end, still holding this point for a little bit longer for the team.
Gets a nice stick onto the Reinhardt. The immortality field is going to go out just to keep them up for a moment, but there's not enough. The reinforcements from Redbirds are just looking too strong right now. And with this, Redbird Esports are finally going to get their moment to breathe as Avidity has to take a knee, you think.
Yeah, they have to wait for a little bit, and the time is running out slowly. That blade is going to be available soon, and also the supercharger for the Orisa. That is a good way to initiate any fight for the attackers here. While Redbird Esports, they just have to get the kills first.
We see the sound barrier leading into the Genji blade, takes down the Ana Ultraviolet, not going to be able to build that ult once again. That blade just being used to zone out Card a little bit, and it's going to be enough to get them that second point. Looking very good for Avidity right now, but how far can they carry it through third?
And we talked about Ultraviolet on the Baptiste a little bit before, but now Renko as well being able to get those kills toward the end. Really good job. Allows the ability to get the second point, making it into third. But a lot of time that has been consumed, still the possibility as the attackers are able to push for a little bit more, but they really need those ultimates.
And the entirety of Avidity sees that Tracer go into the side room, has to be very careful here. The Pulse Bomb comes out, but Eiko has that awareness to turn, make sure that they avoid the damage coming through. This amplification window is looking very strong coming in from Renko, well placed, but it's going to be Reiner getting brought back up despite best efforts. That McCree High Noon almost catches the Echo, but the Matrix is there from Iron. Looking very good. The cart slowly making progress, but Redbird Esports still have the opportunity to turn things around with that Winston going in deep, trying to get on to Seeker. Has the Primal Rage as well to cause even a little bit more mayhem.
There's the kills coming in, and I love seeing that duplicate being so effective with the Deadeye getting 2. No one expecting it, and especially because gets the support. So now, once again, the cleanup happening. The payload was able to make it a little bit farther past that half of the third part of the map. But even then, it's all about the ultimates every single time, and slowly but surely, Redbird Esports is catching up on Seeker and the Genji.
McCree going to be hitting the flashbang onto the Echo, not enough to take them down, at least not immediately, but the follow-up will be there. That Baptiste in an uncomfortable spot, Hydra able to just capitalize on a support medic in a tiny room, and with this now. Avidity does not have enough for this push. They need to regroup themselves despite that early kill.
Redbird Esports is also holding this very, very close. I mean, you can see it even from this Winston pushing forward and getting the kills as well. But along with Sam, it is a lot of really good communication, really good synergy. They know when to go in, when to back up, and that's how they're staying alive, especially with the support ultimates to keep them going.
Speaking of those ultimates, we're about to see both the DPS ultimates come on a line. It's going to be the dash coming in from the Genji. Yana learned her lesson, but not quite well enough. Ultraviolet going to be taken down, but the Mercy can't quite get caught by Seeker. Going to be the Sound Barrier trying to give Avidity enough of a boost, but even if they win this fight, they still have to fight their way back towards point, and that's going to be tough if they don't lose their members here.
Oh, the payload's moving, though. Do they know? They don't know. They don't know. No, there's no way. Okay, yeah, it's up for a little bit longer. And finally, I mean, this is the spawn advantage as well going for this Redbird. So they have the possibility. Sam is just on fire right now, getting all those kills every single time. About to have the duplicate again. And last opportunity, only 15 seconds remaining. Not even with the Stonebright to get into point. Seems like it's going to be enough.
Going to be very difficult. Avidity has the war chest available, though. 4 ultimates. Ultraviolet taken down early on, but it's going to be the stun going out onto the Reinhardt. Sam taken down. There is one member for the side of Avidity on the cart. Can they make it happen? It does not look like that's going to be the case. Seeker has to use that translocator just to get away, and now Soko trying to hold themselves on point with that turbocharger, but you can only do so much as Narisa all by her lonesome. The Halt trying to pull everybody away from her as she's getting peeled by the self-destruct. The pulse bomb catches Matt Merck. Nobody left to touch. Still a decent distance from Avidity.
We saw it at the end as well. Hydron has been so good for this team. Redbird Esports, they have every single player to highlight, but very often it's those DPS lines. No one wants to go in. Being able to play a Tracer at such a high level is so difficult to do, but Hydron does it perfectly. Like, it's not even hard to do. Like, any of us could do it. I promise. It is not that easy. But Redbird Esports, they just know how to play together. They have that synergy. When we interviewed them on the second day of trials, they talked about this. They were all playing in the same area from that university, and so that also helps with the synergy. They're all able to be there for each other, to listen to each other, to be friends more than anything, and they play such an important role in matches like this one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, I think the scoreboards are showing that historically throughout their trials run, but the question still remains. They have to match that distance made by Avidity, which is not completely unseen on Numbani, but they need to get past that first point with as much time as they would like on the clock. Question is, how much time can Avidity burn off?
Yeah, that is a question, because it's so hard to, like I said, it's so hard to hold the defense on the second part of the map. So ideally, you either hold it first or third when you have the spawn advantage. There's really no other possibility for this map. And Redbird Esports, when they have the confidence, they are just going to go in and get the kills.
Matt Merck doing a little bit of a twirl there, just trying to perhaps lighten the mood for this team that goes in. And already Avidity starting off with some strong kills. The res is going to come through, and now things looking a little bit more even, at least in terms of manpower in the immediate. Nice immortality field coming out from Renko in an area where Redbird can't quite immediately deal with it. That Tracer's so low. Eiko able to be healed up, though, by the Ana, by the Baptiste, so not going to quite be shaken.
The thing here is getting those ultimates. Ultraviolet definitely understanding this, and the rest of the team allowing Ultraviolet to get that ultimate before anything else, and it's already going in.
It's going to be Reiner on that Winston with the nano coming in. Matmer goes for the Earth Shatter, but misses it. That's going to cost them if this point ends up falling. They won't have it for second. Now as Redbirds continue to just secure this point, they have bought themselves quite a bit of time in favor of their opponents.
It's just the last couple kills that are going to come through, even with the Primal Rage as well, just to guarantee that kill. And they know for Redbird that they're able to build those ultimates again very, very soon. While Avidity, they need to get back to where they were before. They have a couple ultimates, but it's all about setting up, especially with this Orisa. They want to hold on this corner.
They're certainly going to be trying to do just that, but Eiko taking the corner and immediately getting met by Sam. That is brutal. The cluster bombs now allowed to just be rotated onto the back of the tanks, putting them in a very uncomfortable spot. Avidity now looking to be picked apart off the back of that wild Echo flank and takedown. Now Redbird's continuing to make cart progress with just one on presence right now. Reiner is looking to move forward with that Winston, not using the hop just yet. Mattenberg going for a pin, but Winston's smart enough to back off and allow themselves some breathing room for that. The duplicate's going to be online, but I don't anticipate Sam's going to use it just yet. I've been fooled before, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot of very interesting ultimates, but most of the time they are working for the teams and for the side of Redbird. A little bit more control though now for the side of the defense. This is exactly what they wanted. They need to hold this as soon as possible and use those ultimates, including that Bob that is about to be available.
As we can see, that Nano going out onto the D.Va, that Ana rather looking quite low, but the D.Va there to peel, actually able to get away. And off of the back end of that, it looks like Avidity might have fallen back into their own ways, getting a bit too distracted. Everybody else getting cleaned up off the back of trying to kill this tank and support player. Baptiste on cart, trying to just prevent it from moving forward, trying to kite Reiner, but you can only do so much against a monkey that takes up so much space.
It is a matter of seconds where we see Avidity being able to take control, being able to get the kills, and when you blink, it is already going for the side of Redbird Esports. Once again, able to capture the second point, going to third with a lot more time, almost double the time that the enemy had before. And they're able to just push in a couple ultimates as well to use, including that bomb.
Seeker's going to be going for the Ana. Once again, finding Ultraviolet. You have to think that Redbird's a little bit prepared for this at the time being. They just leave that Ana to herself, not giving her too much backup. There's not too much that can be done against the Genji Blade with this composition. And Seeker now looking to chase everybody away as the rest of Redbirds are looking to just extract without losing too many.
And I'm still questioning the Genji pick because it's not really working out so much. Sure, they're able to get some kills, they are able to push in, but overall, you want to have something a little bit more reliable. And this is one of the mistakes that they are making. I mean, it is just all the ultimates coming through for Redbird Esports, and they're timing out perfectly.
Now, weird. I thought Iron would have been hit by that Earth Shatter, but Macmerc not going to be finding the better of it. In fact, this card's going to be making a little bit more movement towards that final box. Now, Redbird Esports needs to seal this up.
Just a little bit more because not even the map was completed for the enemy team. So just the kills coming through for the spawn, that is going to give the last opportunity Redbird Esports might get this now.
Renko going to be taking down one, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough, especially with Reiner going bananas on that Baptiste at every opportunity. Nobody available to defend cart for Avidity. Redbirds are going to be taking their third map in a row. Nice and clean, just how we like it.
Yeah, they make it really fast as well. About 15 minutes for all the three maps. That is insanely fast for any team. And they're able to take control of every single situation when they are down. And this is all about confidence. When they're down a couple members, they know, instead of backing up, they know how to go in and who to kill first to guarantee that the fight is still going their side. So they did this throughout trials, and this is why they're the only team who ended up undefeated.
Yeah, and I mean, I say it all the time, Dryad, but the numbers speak for themselves. Redbird coming out very strong. I don't think Avidity necessarily just rolled over, however. We saw some really good plays, some really good opportunities, and some, I guess, different mentalities coming out from them. I kind of like the Genji just in the fact that they seem to constantly get the value with the blade. The question is, how long does it take that blade? That's a little bit of a better question for a hindsight. However, Avidity, I think you should still be pretty proud of your performance here.
Yeah, and not only the performance from this match, but throughout the entirety of trials, they had some really good matches. And it was just difficult. Again, no one could beat Redbird Esports, and this just proves how strong they are. They are a team composed of most Contenders players that you know at the higher level, and they are running through trials with a different team, trying to make it all the way to the top again. That is exactly what they guarantee. They guarantee that first place for trials going into Contenders now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be pretty content about that. But stick around, folks. We are going to be taking a quick break. We get back here in our interview booth. You won't want to miss it. Don't worry, folks. We are back. We are here with Luke Mino from Redbird Esports. Luke Mino, hello, welcome, and congratulations.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, always a pleasure. And I'll tell you what else was a pleasure. Watching that game versus Avidity, you guys pretty much had the run of the field with them. Tell me, in Numbani, was there any concern when you kind of saw them getting a little bit of a head of steam on second point?
I wasn't really concerned. More people are just like, why are they dragging this out, trying to go get food, you know?
Oh, okay, okay.
It would have been nice if they tried it like a real comp spot.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we talked about. And okay, so and then what about contenders? Because this is the next challenge that your team is going to have, and your team is full of really, really good players. So is there any team, any player that you're kind of keeping an eye on that you think is going to be definitely more difficult compared to what you did in trials?
Well, there's another team that's supposed to be good. I don't know if I can leak anything on that roster, so
Okay.
yeah, there will be competition. So looking forward to that.
And yeah, I actually had one more question for you. So I heard a lot of people say that you yourself, you're one of the best supports in contenders right now. So who do you think would be kind of at your level, even if you don't want to say what team they're from or what team they played for? Who do you think would be also at the top? Because I mean, if we look at the scores and the results that you've gotten with the teams that you played for, they already say enough for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, only OG really. It's not anyone else I'd consider competition. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, we like that kind of confidence here, Luke Mino. Once again, thank you for coming in, answering a few questions. And before we send you off, I do want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs you feel might be deserved, whether it's your team, your staff, wherever you like to go with it.
Shout out to Renko on the opposition. He was a great coach for me when I was on Odyssey. He told me a lot of different ways to improve, so, like getting a kill. It was really helpful.
All right. Well, some big praise there coming in from Luke Mino. Luke Mino, once again, thank you very much for hopping into our interview booth, having a few words with us. And once again, if you haven't heard enough, congratulations.
Yep, thanks.
And folks, that will be it for our first match of the evening. However, we have more fast-paced action coming at you here in just a minute, so stick around. We'll be back with Dice Gaming versus Wisp after this. Hello, folks. We are live. We are back, and we're a little bit early if you're paying attention to our timer, but we won't tell if you don't. That being said, we're just so excited to get into our next game that is going to be Dice Gaming versus Wisp. And Dryad, not only is it our next game, it is our last game of this Trials.
Yeah, it is going to be the last, so I really hope that the teams are going to make it a good one. They definitely are going to put up a fight. I mean, just looking at the players, just looking at their performance, both of them being very, very close, really well players, really good players known in the contenders in that trial scene. So there's the last one that we're going to have, and we have to see who ends up being on top.
Yeah, both these teams in the number 2 and 3 spots. Wisp a little bit ahead of Dice Gaming with a differential of 3-1 versus 2-2. If you like comparing stats like that, like I have been known to do every once in a while. But overall, so far, these teams still pretty comfortable, especially with that loss from Avidity, who would have been that 4th place spot that we just saw. That means that no matter who loses this, they're still going to be standing pretty good. They're not going to have to worry about their spots going away in the blink of an eye like that.
Yeah, again, the question here is the one match that that we don't have on stream, which is Drifters and Noble. That is going to guarantee you where they're going to be placed in the 4th place. I mean, we have to see what's going to happen with Dice Gaming. But Wisp, for example, they already have that spot for Contenders guaranteed. They are the team who come to be the favorites here, who are on top, who have been with the most well-known players. But also for the side of Dice Gaming, they also have some really good players, and they want to leave a statement towards the end of this trials.
Yeah, and these teams have been running some pretty unique trends as we look kind of towards their trials careers so far. Wisp, whenever they're playing an opponent that isn't Redbird Esports, they just win 3-0, right? There's no competition there. Dice Gaming's not as fortunate. Whenever they win a game, they always take it 3-2. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we see that kind of continue, or maybe if we see a break in both their patterns, where maybe we get a 1-3 or something along those lines.
Yeah, that is going to be the question. I mean, both of the teams, like you said, 2-3 on the score right now. But now the question is, how close are they? Are they really? And that is what we're going to be figuring out. Wisp, yeah, they might be getting a little bit of a benefit, especially for that control map, because we've seen them before. But nonetheless, Dice Gaming, they have some really good maps. They have some really good players who qualify and who are very well highlighted for some heroes. So that's when things might change around.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we kind of take a look at the maps we might be expecting in the future, we saw last time that Ilios is going to be our first map to start here, Dryad. And that kind of starts to get some ideas brewing within these teams. And we're actually already there, once again, starting off on well.
Yeah, once again, this map just started off. And this is a map that brings anything. We saw it on the last match, too. A lot of different heroes, a lot of different counters being played. The Echo and then the McCree shutting down this hero, and also any other possibility with the Roadhog, with the Orisa as well, with the Winston. This is a map where you can play pretty much anything that you want, and it is the difference of who is able to understand the meta a little bit better. And like we said, Wisp, it seems like they have the better grasp of it, but Dice Gaming, they have some really good players. They are very good individually at the heroes that they play, and that is why we are here and we are seeing them on trials.
Absolutely, and you said that they can play whatever they want, and it looks like both teams going to be wanting that sim, that teleporter, at least to get them out of spawn just a little bit faster. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a Tracer swap immediately after that. In fact, it's exactly what it's going to be. And now, as we look, not too many similarities aside from that Tracer. Both these teams going to be looking to take that initial mega area, or that small health kit area. Now it's Beluga looking to lean in with the Hog. Doesn't quite get the hook, however, still giving a huge opportunity for Dice Gaming to get some sort of capitalization here. That Diva and Doge running very low for the side of Wisp. Have to be very careful here, but Dice Gaming just allowing themselves to play slow might not allow them the best opportunity, given that Malthus can just land those hacks. Cyrus, meanwhile, just going to be hanging in the back, using that consistent damage coming in from the Soldier. Beluga able to hook that Diva just across the angle. Cry going to be taken out, and all of a sudden things might be a little bit more favorable for Dice Gaming.
Yeah, it is the kills coming through as well for the side of Dice Gaming. They will be able to capture the point, and the last kill is also going for their side. So already looking different from the last match, where it was one side and then it was another before we realized. Wisp, the one thing I want to keep an eye on is the Sombra. the sooner that they get the EMP, the better their opportunity to win that fight is going to be. And so Maltho has a lot of pressure to make sure that this happens, because you don't have a lot of counters for the Sombra from the side of Dice Gaming.
You certainly do not. The best you can hope for to try to hook her out with that Hog. Beluga going to have a job on their hands. Ares trying to chase down this Wrecking Ball. Has the Pulse Bomb in pocket. Not going to need it as Cyrus there to help their DPS companion. Now, Dice Gaming continue to just hold, having a little bit of a slower fight, but it gets them more percentage.
Yeah, already passing the 40%, trying to get it to the 50, which they will be doing along with a couple ultimates to keep it going, including the Visor, including that amplification, just to create the space for the team. While Wisp, they're just trying to regroup and go again.
When Ares tries to go for the Pulse Bomb onto the Zenyatta, can't quite find it, and now the entirety of Wisp pretty much given that cliffside for a little bit of free. Now Cyrus going to be using that Tac Visor, trying to provide a lot of damage, but it's going to be met by the Transcendence coming in from the Zenyatta. Cyrus being saved only by the damage, or the damage mitigation from the Immortality Field. It's going to be one up for the side of Dice Gaming initially, but not for long, as now it looks like Wisp looking to put some hurt on their opponents. However, Dice Gaming still managing to hold on to this point for the time being. Matt doing their best to just try to drag up those percentages.
It was also a really good immortality that we saw from the side of Dice Gaming, keeping the Soldier 76 alive for a little bit longer, but finally Wisp able to capture the point. They want to hold the EMP, like we talked about, always being so effective, and now they also have the minefield to use and to deny a little bit of that space from Dice Gaming before they capture again.
Absolutely right. Malthol going to be getting the hack onto the Baptiste, but quickly turned around on, didn't have that translocator back in pocket to translocate to. The Dice could be coming out from Doge, but not really too many people from Dice Gaming to fall into it. Tanks looking very low from Dice Gaming, going to be cleaned up by Doge. And now with this, Wisp just has that Wrecking Ball trying to hold down the point. Dice Gaming going to be getting the flip, start to build up again.
And Wisp, they took a little too long to use that minefield. They needed to use it early on, but Dice Gaming was able to go inside of the point and to control it again. It is going to be 90% for them. One last fight territory, it seems like, with the Sound Barrier as well to play aggressive.
No EMP either to cut that sound barrier out mid-fight. Malthol getting hooked, but has that translocate back. It looks like they were just a little bit short of Beluga's hook. Not quite able to get that kill shot in from the Roadhog. Viz trying to catch out the Zenyatta, does find some success with that. The Baptiste jumping high, Rocket just a little bit too far away. Cyrus has to be careful, gonna get shook a little bit by Rocket. And now, just like that, Dice Gaming are in overtime, but they need to be careful. A lot of health pools are looking quite low. And Wisp looking to come in with some severe manpower, particularly on the back of Rocket, who's looking to just try to put in as much work as possible. So far, the D-Mech's going to be coming in from Cry, not reinforcing Wisp in the way that they would like, but still, Wisp looking resilient so far, looking to try to cut down what little members of Dice Gaming remain. They do get Matt, but again, now Wisp are the ones who are looking so dangerously low. And just like this, we're looking at a skeleton crew coming in from both teams. Blue going to be able to take a breather, has that Baptiste to give them healing in the backlines. Ares now going to be hopping onto the lone Zen, finds it. Just like this, Dice Gaming look like they might be starting off strong here. Ares gets the melee kill onto Rocket, the stick onto the Sombra, and just like that, Dice Gaming come off with well.
We were talking about Wisp, but Dice Gaming, they are on fire right now, definitely trying to get ahead, and that is exactly what they did here. They have one more stop map in Helios to go, and they might just take this. I mean, it was a really good performance, even countering the Sombra from the side of Wisp from Malthol. That EMP wasn't really effective. They were able to take control of a single fight, but then it didn't really happen again. And so Dice Gaming, really good changes, really good adaptation, and really good use of ultimates that is allowing them to do this.
Absolutely have to agree. Malthol just not looking like Sombra was necessarily the pick, or the coordination wasn't there. Something just seemed off with that character. Didn't seem like it was getting a huge ton of value. Now, as we look ahead, Dice Gaming going to be rolling out with the Hog Sigma compared to the Wrecking Ball Diva. Once again, Tracers coming out from both ends. Sombra from Malthol going to give it another shot, see if they can find a little bit more purchase for it this time. Doge going to be taking the health kit, but Dice Gaming doing successfully at wailing down on those health pools of Wisp. That Wrecking Ball going to be picked up, brought in, but not brought down just yet. Eventually will be taking the fall. However, no more stall time going to be capable from that big old tank that can come through. Malthol trying to get the hacks, but the response time from Dice Gaming just interrupting those hacks a little bit too quickly. Now, as we can see, it's going to be the Roadhog trying to push in, but Dice Gaming just doesn't look like they have it on this fight. They're going to give it up to Wisp.
Wisp is going to take control of the point and already passing the 50% for the EMP. Once again, the biggest risk that Dice Gaming has is gotta be that EMP coming through early on and denying any sort of possibility. And so it is that pressure on the support to be able to keep the team alive when this happens. But in the meantime, Wisp is just going to be able to take control of the point. As you say that the Zenyatta getting taken down.
Oh, Ares actually getting hacked, but the Baptiste there to save them. Rocket didn't have enough damage in the tank to really get that done, and Cyrus going to be capitalizing on that with 2 kills in the pocket for their team. And now with this, Dice Gaming look like they're on the right path for a turnaround.
The cleanup once again is going to happen for Dice Gaming. They capture the point again, and Wisp, they're going to be able to go in with the EMP and with the rally. This should be enough, and this is the biggest win possibility that they have for the next couple of fights. So they need to get value out of it if Dice Gaming doesn't deny this with the amplification just to create that space.
Now they will have that EMP up, so the opportunity for Wisp to get really aggressive here, especially with this rally. This Pulse Bomb goes out, but the Transcendence comes in, healing anybody who may have been damaged by it, as well as preventing the kill onto the Zenyatta themselves. Cyrus popping Attack Visor, a little ill-advised there. 2 ultimates to use, 3 ultimates from Dice Gaming with very little effect.
5 ultimates that were used, 5 of the hacks actually that happened for Dice Gaming, everyone getting taken down, and without Wisp able to capture the point again. It was a rally and the EMP being used at the same time, so now it gets a little bit more risky because those are the 2 strongest ultimates that the team has. Now they have to play a little bit more passive, play for the picks more than anything else, just to keep this going, just to pass at least that 70% and have that control every single time.
I can really respect the switch coming in from Ares, that McCree going to be looking to put a damper on the parade of Rocket and Malvo, as well as Doge, just everybody on the side of Wisp. Rocket going to be sending in the Pulse Bomb, takes down the Immortality Field, but that's about it. The self-destruct only to clear off the space a little bit, but with 2 members already down, it doesn't look like it's going to go extremely well for Wisp. They're losing more and more members at Sombra. Going to be able to translocate, not feed that ult charge over, but they do lose the point.
80% for Wisp. They need 1 more fight just to guarantee that 99, and they've been doing so well. Maltho once again about to have that EMP, only took him about 1 fight and a half while Dice Gaming. Now they're the ones who don't have the ultimates that they need. They don't have a lot of strong ultimates as well, so they are depending on those kills just to go in the dive happening from the Diva, and even that bomb just to try to create that space necessary before that EMP comes in.
We can already see Biz being very attentive. You heard the opportunity for the Sombra to get the hack on the McCree, and Biz already going in there with the Immortality Field. A nice breather to try to body block coming in from Beluga, but gets hacked because of it, and just like that, Dice Gaming now an open opportunity to get picked apart here. Once again, the Soldier popping the Attack Visor, but not quite finding too much with it. Cyrus might really need to reevaluate the use of that ultimate, unless they're looking to swap, in which case I might not hate it.
And things get very difficult. I mean, that EMP was used, being so effective this time around, getting 3 kills, and Dice Gaming not having a lot of possibilities right now with a 99 already.
Oh, and with Pascal going down, that is going to make things a lot harder. Dice Gaming need to try to get themselves back onto point, but they can only do so much. That Soldier trying to get away, but Cyrus not going to be able to touch point because of that, and with it, it's going to be now looking at a 1-1 on Ilios.
The number 2 and number 3 in trials now, trying to make a difference here, trying to see who is really the better team. And so far, it is looking very close for Wisp and Dice Gaming. Any of them could win this first map here on Ilios. A lot of changes happening, a lot of ultimates. A concern for me is that we saw Wisp using the rally and the EMP at the same time. And when it comes to those ultimates, at the end of the day, you want to use only 1 at a time because they are the strongest ones that you have. Well, on the other hand, for Dice Gaming, it seems like they feel more comfortable playing other heroes. But I'm still concerned about that Roadhog. I don't know how effective it is going to keep being.
Yeah, Malvo, though, definitely feeling the pressure from Beluga. We'll see every once in a while Malvo will just make headway with that Roadhog when revealed and immediately have to translocate out, otherwise take a hook and the instant death. And as we can see, if you're a Sombra who has to keep leaving their team, you're not really giving them an opportunity to fight at a full advantage. As now Malvo looking to get themselves a little bit of healing from Moser. It's given Dice Gaming the opportunity to maneuver around the map a little bit more. They're going to start navigating towards point, even though Rocket's still in the window trying to just stall out for whatever they can. The stun after they blink right into it. Not going to be taken down, however. It will be the point going over to Dice Gaming, however. It doesn't look like Wisp wants to push this too aggressively.
Yeah, it seems like they're ready to go in. They haven't given up the fight just yet, and the Diva is going to dive in, trying to get the kills. Wisp, they just might get this again.
Oh, and I like the Mei coming out here, freezing rather that Diva that's coming in crying. Not going to be long for this world at that rate, but the rest of the team, they're able to get the kills and make up for it. And with this, now it looks like Dice Gaming are once again just playing for as much progress as they can get. That Lucio's going to be hacked. That Wrecking Ball certainly going to get torn apart. 30% is going to have to be enough.
Yeah, 30%, not an ideal situation for Dice Gaming, but they know they're able to get at least a little bit before they are ready for the next fight. Even though the next fight, they're going to catch the rally coming in for right attack, which makes things a lot more difficult to deal with. And that is why a lot of teams decide to wait for this rally to be over before pushing in. Might be the case for Dice Gaming.
As we look here, Pascal has that amplification matrix up, can use it on the high ground, but they have to make sure that they don't get taken down early. We can see their health pools starting to wane and slowly being rebuilt back up. Dice Gaming going to be putting some pressure on the point, meaning that Wisp has to take a rotation and get within threat of that amplification matrix. Malthus now having to take a quick leave. Rocket getting hooked out, getting taken down now. 1 DPS down for both of these teams. Malthus has that EMP. Keep eyes out for it. We'll see if it goes into effect this fight. Beluga going to be taking a breather, trying to get back onto presence. That EMP is going to go out. The immortality field, rather, going to be there to keep 3 alive. Biz has the grab, not going to be using it for this fight. Sound barrier to keep everybody else up. This is looking like a little bit of an ult fest, especially with that Diva Bomb going out just to zone once again. Wrecking Ball actually gets cut off by their own Mei wall, and Rocket gets 2 pulse bombs. This is pandemonium.
Oh, the kills are coming here and there, but at the end of the day, is Wisp the ones that are able to stay on top and to keep control of the point, passing the 70%, doubling already that percentage from Dice Gaming, and it was all about that EMP. That EMP got 5, got everyone except the Mei, and with that, Dice Gaming, they couldn't push in, they couldn't use that grab, they couldn't do anything. That made everything more difficult, and now this could be their last fight.
Might if Dice Gaming are not careful. They need to keep eyes on Malthus, or at least need to start checking their corners. Malthus hopped off before they could get that hack online, or hack off if you prefer. And they're not going to be finding the benefit there. A nice whip shot coming in from the Brig doesn't quite connect with the hack onto Beluga. Actually does, excuse me. Now it's going to be the breather coming in, and Malthus stuck in a corner. Has to be careful. That whole hog will tear them apart. High Noon going to be activated from Ares just to try to force any sort of pressure onto Wisp that they can. And so far, Dice Gaming are looking decent for this fight. Biz able to take down Malthus despite getting hacked.
Some control now for Dice Gaming, finally getting the point after the 30% that they lost a long time ago, but they have to use those ultimates first, especially before that EMP once again comes in. It's very interesting to see how effective Wisp has been able, oh, the Wicker not able to go up, has been able to deal with that EMP. So once again, once it comes in along with the rally, that might be it for Dice Gaming. They need to use that graviton first, take a few of their members down.
And despite everybody from Dice Gaming trying to get rather ahead of the curve here, it looks like Wisp Gaming are playing them like a fiddle, eating the grab, destroying that immortality field. It's going to be the Blizzard on point. Malthus taken down because of it. Doge now trying to get away, but doesn't really need to, as the rest of their team is doing a great job at securing that point. Ares does manage to get the kill, but can't quite make it back to point. And with that, Wisp just manages to pull over Dice Gaming.
It looked very, very close, especially on that first map that we saw. Then it was going more for the side of Wisp. And I'm always hesitant when we see those Sombras being played, but Malthus is able to play this hero at such a high level that we see it every single time. Every single EMP that came in from this player got at least 3 players, and that makes a massive difference for the rest of the team. No one able to catch where this Sombra is, no matter if you are playing a Diva trying to catch the Sombra, that is not going to be enough. Not even with the stuns that might be coming through just to cancel this ultimate. Nothing seems to be enough, and so Wisp, they are able to take his first map in a very, very convincing way.
Yeah, very convincing way. If you, I guess, kind of exclude well a little bit. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, they were having a pretty good time on both Ruins and Lighthouse. I think that some of the credit for their lack of success on Well goes to just the difficulty to play Sombra. Malthus again just seemed out of sync with their team, but once they kind of got back into that tempo, that rhythm, they started making it feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more advantageous for Wisp to just capitalize on in entirety.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about being able to build that synergy, especially with the Sombra. That is why I'm hesitant to see the Sombras being played, because Sure, you're able to build your EMP fast, but then you need the team to help you out to get the kills. And in a lot of the cases, that doesn't really happen. It's just that EMP can get 6, it can get 5, and there's no response from the team. But for Wisp, we saw a response in every single ultimate that we saw. Everyone getting the kills, everyone pushing in, taking control of the point, and that's why it was effective. So now, if Wisp is able to keep playing this hero, if they're able to keep playing with the Sombra, they already have a couple more maps on their bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Wisp's going to be looking pretty confident here. We're going to take a quick break, folks, so stick around. We'll be right back to keep up with the action of Wisp versus Dice Gaming. Thanks for hanging in there with us, folks. We missed you as much as you missed us, and we also missed these fun games between Dice Gaming and Wisp. Wisp currently up 1-0 after, I would say, at least a competitive Ilios.
Yeah, it looked very close. That just leaves me very excited for the matches that we're going to be seeing next, for the maps that we're going to be seeing next, actually. And it is going to be Blizzard World coming in. This is also a map that we haven't seen much of here in Trials.
Yeah, it's not, and it's if I'm being honest, one of my favorite hybrid maps to see. I know everybody loves talking about King's Row. They love talking about that level of proficiency that comes through here, but I just like the festivities of Blizzard World. There's snacks, there's roller coasters, there's a little bit of everything for everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is a very good map, and I think the reason why I like it so much is because when this map came out, I was playing Diva and I got like a 5k, and ever since then I just love the map. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's I can't figure out why I like it, but no, absolutely excited to see what these teams kind of come into this matchup on Blizzard World, because like you said, it's not one of those ones that we see too often, especially when you compare it to the King's Row. So are there any compositions that tend to stick out in your mind, Dryad?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking of the Double Bubble, I'm thinking of the Winston, I'm thinking of the Saria being played, and this is also another of those maps that you can kind of change the composition depending on the meta, but right now the meta, especially for here in Trials, it can depend a lot on what the players feel comfortable with. So that's why I expect a lot of possibilities for the defense, and that might be a possibility that we are going to be seeing on this match. You can see the Orisa, you can see the double shield coming through, and then when you go into the second part of the map, that's when you change more into the Winston, into the Saria, and see what can work out from that.
Well, as far as the double bubble goes, I lament to say that it doesn't seem like the defense is going to be rolling out on it just yet. But there's a pause, so maybe some catastrophic thing happened and they'll be forced to run double bubble. But obviously, we want these teams to perform their best, so maybe not that.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of the defense, like I said, it's for the first point, it is so effective to run the Orisas with a double shield just because you have so much protection, and you also have a little bit of that high ground. Anything that you're going to be playing along in the up angle with the DPS is going to be effective just to guarantee the kills and delay that push from the attackers. So it is a good strategy. I like seeing it, but like I said, on that second and third part of the map, that's when we might be seeing some things being changed.
Yeah, we'll see as this map kind of develops as we get rolling here. So far for Wisp, it looks like they are leaning on that sim. Now, whether that's just a sim to get a quick teleport out of spawn a little bit faster, who knows? The options are open.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the possibilities here, especially because the support line that we see from the side of Wisp, it is very, very slow. You're going to have a Zenyatta and you're going to have a Brick, so already not a lot of heals, not a lot of speed. You're going to depend on the kills more than anything coming through from the side of the DPS before pushing in with your supports.
Yeah, and this is a risky option to me in terms of supports. That Zenyatta not going to be able to get as much value if he can't get around those shields. He can't Discord through shielding, so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. Moser already taking a little bit of a pelting from Cyrus's Rivet Gun, but going to be walking it off, or rather floating it off, I suppose, for Zenyatta. But now, as we look, Wisp slowly starting to constrict around Dice Gaming, that high ground being held by Rocket. A nice Dynamite's going to help them to building a little bit of ult charge towards Bob, but again, these teams not looking supremely explosive just yet. Right now, just kind of trying to suss out.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of control here, and it's trying to create that distraction with the Wrecking Ball, seeing what they can do here. More than anything, that's what Wisp is trying to do with this composition. Create the distraction with the Echo, with the Wrecking Ball before going in and seeing what they can do with the kills.
But it's not going to count if Doge gets taken down early on. Biz does get caught out during the turnaround, but it doesn't look like it's going to quite be in their favor. The res actually from behind the lines, Wisp able to recover themselves and allow that force to come in from Dice Gaming, but Dice Gaming still able to burn about a minute and a half off.
And anything that you're able to consume from the enemy team is going to be effective here on the defense. So Dice Gaming, ideally they're able to prepare themselves. Yeah, everyone going to the high ground. They know that the next fight is definitely going to take place here on this high ground. They're going to guarantee that control for this entire space. And so with a couple ultimates might be pushing that payload a little bit more.
And Dice Gaming going to be using that amplification matrix to make it a little bit more difficult to get through that big old choke point. But Malvos just decides to go over it. An excellent choice, forcing that Baptiste to use that immortality field, then breaking it down as soon as it goes out. And with this, Dice Gaming now going to be suffering a little bit, particularly Beluga, who loses out on that Orisa. High Noon going to be dropped in. Not going to be quite finding too much from the side of Ares, who's now looking to just try to survive here as Cyrus running themselves away. Once again, this Soldier, I don't think we've necessarily seen the best of it from Cyrus so far today.
Just running the Soldier by itself is so difficult. It is a hero that it's not easy to run. You ideally want to run something a little bit stronger, but Dice Gaming, they're committing to this.
The Gravitic Flux is going to go out, Cry making sure to avoid that Accretion Rock coming out from Biz, and Dice Gaming going to be able to weather the storm, not taking too much damage from it. Rocket going to be throwing Bob onto the high ground, trying to take this Sigma on in a 1v1, does eventually find success there. Now with this, Wisp still has a little bit of momentum in their corner. Rocket holding these hallways, making sure that anybody from Dice Gaming who pokes their head outside of those concessions going to be brought into a little bit of a painful zone. Doge barely able to get the healing out and make sure that they are able to stay alive, getting regrouped with their team. That is so essential. Oh, but it's not going to quite be enough. Cyrus just a little too quick on the attack. Rag Attack, speaking of which, trying to get the better, but gets hit with the butt of the rifle. Just like this now, Dice Gaming have managed to stop the bleeding, and Wisp now have to reconsider.
I was just talking about the Soldier and how hard it is to run it and for it to be effective, but there it is, 2 kills happening for the Soldier, and now a little bit more control that we see from Dice Gaming, especially with those ultimates. I mean, using the Supercharger and now still having those 4 ultimates to come next.
As we see here, Cyrus trying to put some pressure onto the cart. Malvo just doing their best to move it any little bit they can. Beluga still holding very far forward with the rest of their team, making sure that that is a 1v1 by the strictest definition. Malvo able to take down Biz, though, so might have turned from a 1v1 into a multi-v1. Now as the attack visor comes out from Cyrus, is able to find Doge with it this time around, but very little else. And now the attention has to turn to cart if you're on Dice Gaming's end. You can't stay in that hallway, at least not everybody can stay in that hallway lest you give up that cart and potentially that second point. Dynamite going to be going out. Everybody being clustered together means that Rocket's going to be able to build some nice ult charge here. Transcendence coming out, doesn't catch Malvo. Moser allowing their Tracer to drop, and just like this, Dice Gaming not out of this fight just yet. The Gravitic Flux goes in, catches one. It's going to be the Brig halting her, not allowing her to get anywhere near her team. And right now, these teams are just fighting for survival. Dice Gaming still looking very good, though, not letting up.
Yeah, the Flux hit is going to come through, and the kills happening once again for the side of Dice Gaming, taking a little bit more control. The Soldier, well, we don't talk about it. It's okay. The rest of the team is there to hold the point for a little bit longer. And with that, time slowly running out for the side of Wisp. Only 1 minute 40 remaining. They need to build those ultimates again. The pulse bomb doesn't seem like it's going to be enough, especially with how close Vega and Pascal are playing. So it is all about coming through with their rally, pushing in with this aggressive ultimate.
And Malvo might be looking to get eyes on that cart once again, force some pressure. Flashbang goes out from Ares, not able to find anything. That means that cooldown's not going to be there to bother the Tracer for about 5 more seconds. As Wisp starts to make a rotation, Pascal going to be trying to put a little bit more pressure with that amplification matrix. The kinetic grasp is going to be stopping any damage that would come in through the form of bullets. Malvo able to take down one in Vega means Dice Gaming has to play on their heels, be very alert, and not allow any more mistakes like that to happen, at least until the respawns can come in. And Wisp is giving them plenty of time to have those respawns come in. Cyrus just now playing in the back, looking so close to getting that tack visor. Really wants it, but Ares in the back line not able to get that high noon off. Malvo sniffing him out like a bloodhound, and just like this, Wisp able to take that second point.
Yeah, the rally coming in a little bit late, but still guaranteeing the kills. And the extra support that Wisp needed to get the second part of the map, now going to the third, and they're going to be pushing forward. They know how difficult it is to pass this corner, and so they're going to take it before. And they really like this approach, especially while Dice Gaming are still setting up.
As we can see it here, Wisp looking to take this first corner, the second corner, rather to make sure that Dice Gaming has a little bit of a harder time contesting cart and getting in favorable positioning. We are going to still see the attack visor come through from Cyrus along with the high noon. Ares able to get the Deadeye off and land the kill onto Doge. Just like that, Crawley throwing out an Accretion, able to stun down Biz, and that is going to be essential in getting this fight moving forward. That deployable shield not going to be as steady when the Sig is dead. However, Dice Gaming managing to pull back a couple of kills. The clawback might be real for this team, allowing them to have some more of a defensive semblance on this last fight.
Yeah, a little bit more control as well, along with the Wrecking Ball having that ultimate already. This is the biggest opportunity for Wisp to take control before the time runs out completely, because there's only 1 minute remaining and a couple ultimates still for Dice Gaming. That might be a little too strong, including that rally.
Doge in the back, waiting perhaps to get those mines placed out and see exactly what they find. Cyrus continuing to fire rivets just in case anybody decides to peek that corner. Malvo almost gets the stick on the Vega, but Vega very quick with the shield and very quick with the sidestep. Malvo doesn't have rewind, now takes quite a bit of damage, has to regroup all on their own. Does get a little bit of healing, eventually drip fed into them. Now with this, it's going to be the Gravitic Flux coming in. Doesn't look like it caught anybody. The minefields are going to go out, catching out point, making it dangerous for anybody on the defensive side to get in there and get some real contest going. Cyrus going to have their turret taken down. Vega tries to go for the health pack, but actually gets stopped by the Tracer. Malvo just looking a little bit too quick there on the draw. Vega not able to withstand, and just like that, Dice Gaming is down one. They were down one of their only ultimates. Ares going to be dropping the high noon, however, taking down one. Moser not able to body block with that Transcendence. Will give Raktak enough time to get the healing and res off. However, it does look like it's going to be enough for the side of Wisp to get this final point. That Tracer, the Mercy, both trying to be the game changers here, but you can only do so much when there's an entire enemy team against you. Overtime's going to tick down, and just like that, Dice Gaming does not allow her to hit.
You can see the desperation towards the end happening for the side of Wisp. They knew they had to touch the point, but they didn't have any shield or protection, so they tried going in without them, and they got taken down by the Deadeye. So that is one of the problems that you have. You need those double shield, at least one of the shield, and going with the Wrecking Ball, that's where things become more difficult, because sometimes the Wrecking Ball is just trying to create space, not really being able to be there for the team, and that's where the trouble can start. So for the side of West, not really able to complete it, they're still able to hold a very strong defense, but we have to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and we'll be getting a little bit of a sneak peek towards that in about 15 seconds. But so far, Dice Gaming, I think they used that McCree to some really good effect, limiting the amount of movement that the Tracer could have, allowing or not allowing the Tracer to kind of sneak into those backlines, deal that big damage that we've seen historically throughout today the Tracers do at mass.
And that is why it seems like Dice Gaming wants to go for the McCree. Not only with the Deadeye was able to get a couple kills and to create the space for Dice Gaming towards the end on the defense, but also to try to counter the Tracer a little bit more. And that becomes a lot more difficult because this Tracer can get stunned by Brig, by the McCree, by the Sigma as well with the Rock, and even get pulled with the Risa. So it becomes a lot more difficult to just be in the backline and do whatever you want.
The question for me now lies exactly how Dice Gaming is going to play their attack. If we see the Soldier come out once again, what is the primary focus? You have to think it's going to be Malvo on that Echo. We will see, as now players are going to be coming out of spawn, looking like it's going to be pretty locked in, at least for this first fight. Again, a little bit of a weaker support line coming in from Wisp, Raktak, and Moser on that Brig and Zen. Get a lot of healing done if you're within that Inspire, but not a lot of focused burst healing. And that can sometimes be the game changer, especially against a McCree. We will be seeing Cyrus switch over to the Echo, however, so not going to be looking for the Soldier that time around. And Wisp already getting a little bit claustrophobic in here as Dice Gaming continues to push up on them. Doge taking quite a bit of damage, stunned out by the Brig, stunned out by the Accretion. And just like that, Dice Gaming set themselves up in a really good spot. Malvo having to take a knee, head into the back, get the Mega. And just like this, point presence is already being firmly held by Dice Gaming. This is a great start for them.
Yeah, almost immediately able to capture the point here for the set of Dice Gaming, and a little bit surprising for what we expected from Wisp to take control of the point and hold it for a little bit longer. But it's also a matter of the composition. They didn't have anything to hold it all the way until the end, and they got taken down first. So it makes things a lot more difficult with that Dice Gaming. Not only they got the fight, but they're also going to take this high ground positioning, which is going to benefit them to get those ultimates and to get that next fight.
Yeah, we saw on the defending side how much that high ground really benefited Dice Gaming. No surprise that they'd want to be playing here. That Wrecking Ball getting halted once again, dangerously low. Not quite able to get taken down, but has to be on the retreat for the time being. Rocket now looking to take a little bit of a fight to Ares, but not going to get too far ahead of themselves, allow the team to recover. But Dice Gaming still going to be getting cart progress for this.
And Wisp, on the side of the defense, they are still playing this dive. They're committed to this dive. They have a duplicate to use, and it might be effective, but it needs to be used now. Yep.
And we see Doge go in with the Wrecking Ball, not quite able to find it. A Sleep Dart coming in courtesy of Moser, not going to quite be enough to bring that McCree out of the fight permanently, but it will be enough to take a little bit of pressure off. It's going to be the Mercy duplicate. Cyrus trying to get the kill onto Rack Attack. It will be Beluga, whose stray Fusion Driver will be going their way. And just like this, it looks like Dice Gaming might be good for this second point. That Tracer trying their best to wait to the last minute to contest, but nope, instead just going to be backing off and allowing their team to regroup.
And I like this confidence. They know they have a lot of time. They know that they took control of the first point on that first fight that they had. And they have also 5 minutes 30 to take this last point. Not even all of it, just almost all of it. And that gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of ultimates to use. And look at that, just the kills are enough.
Yeah, some severe aggression coming out from Cyrus that allowed Biz to take down Moser on that Ana. Doge once again on that Wrecking Ball, looking very tasty of a target, but it's not really going to be too effective here as now Wisp starts to regain some of this control. It's going to be the Gravitic Flux coming in, doesn't quite catch the Wrecking Ball. Nobody caught, as a matter of fact, but everybody pushed back, and now Dice Gaming catches a little bit of benefit. The Pulse Bomb goes out, but the Larissa has Fortify, keeps herself alive. Vega going to be dropping that rally, keeping everybody else alive. Now, as we look, Cry sending in a Diva Bomb over the top, takes down Beluga. No frontline shield to come in for the side of Dice Gaming. The Echo goes in a little bit ahead of everybody else, and that really costs them in that fight.
Finally, some control that Wisp is able to get, and they definitely needed. Only 1 minute that they were able to waste from the attackers, but that is going to be enough, and that is all that they can work with for now, because they don't have any ultimate. Well, Dice Gaming, they've been doing so well. They've been rotating this ultimate, and they might just take this. They get to move the payload a little bit too.
Yeah, my question here is, does Doge keep on this Wrecking Ball? We've seen it time and time again where they get taken down early on, and that allows Dice Gaming to lead in here. Not going to be the case this time around. They're able to use some nice wraparounds to get with their team, but Dice Gaming might be overstaying their welcome here in this small room. At least that is until they get the respawns in.
Yeah, they know they have to protect themselves with this double shield. They can't push in without all members being alive, and that is exactly what they're going to do. The spawn advantage is going to become so important towards the end for this type of defense, so they don't want to push, they don't want to overextend and get taken down early.
And it's going to be the Dragons coming out. A nice anti-nade from Moser means nobody can be kept alive save that immortality field. The Mei coming online once again from Cyrus, that Mei trying to just lock down anybody they can, whether it be with Wall or with Frost. And right now that Wrecking Ball looking a lot better at surviving, although as soon as I say that, Pascal able to get the last few bullets into the giant mech. That was required to bring it down. And now Amplification Matrix going out, Rocket getting stunned. Dice Gaming really alert on these dive characters. Wisp not able to get the upper hand in a lot of these fights because of it. And with this, Dice Gaming now fighting onto Cart, using that turbocharger to just fight within. It's going to be a sleep dart onto Beluga, but not going to matter too much as they get woken up. Now, this team of Wisp is looking a little bit split. Mercy and Hanzo on one side, Diva and Ana on the other. The question is, can these regroup or at least make it happen in these splits? So far, it seems like the Hanzo's taking advantage with a nice dragon down the center. They're going to be buying a lot of space off the cart.
And that was just a clutch situation for Wisp. They lost 2 members and they needed to make something happen. Those dragons as well to create that space. It's going to give them more time. They already consumed quite a lot of time from the attackers not being able to do much. And so Dice Gaming, they're stuck in the same situation. They're about to have that rally, which is the biggest opportunity, as well as the Blizzard to create the space. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to consume a lot of time too. This is the best opportunity for them.
A big anti-nade coming in from Moser. You got to think that Wisp is going to get aggressive with that. The minefield goes out. Ares not able to find anything with the Dead Eye, and this is an area that Dice Gaming has to break through within the next couple of minutes. They do not want to get stuck here. They are so close. Self-destruct's going to be going out. Cry using it for a quick remech, as now the fight's still taking place on Cart, but too many members of Dice Gaming are realistically gone to buy themselves any more time, and with Biz getting staggered out, this is going to be looking pretty rough.
That was 2 really good anti-nades in a row too from Moser. The first one getting 5, the second one getting 2, but that is enough to put the pressure for everyone to back up, to play a little bit more passive, to not be able to use those ultimates, and that is exactly what Wisp tried to do. Now they have both of the ultimates coming through for the supports. They need to use them early on. Rock Attack needs to use his Valkyrie early on just to protect that team from the damage.
And the Dragons perhaps just a bit too early. No, actually sections off Beluga, and as soon as that immortality field is torn down, they get the opportunity to get the kill. And just like that, Dice Gaming just pull one ultimate from their opponents at the cost of push.
Yeah, they're going to be waiting a couple more seconds before pushing in. Both of the support ultimates for both of the teams are going to be available, but now this is the time where we also see the Blizzard, so that is the biggest risk for Wisp.
We see the rally go in from Vega. Everybody allowed to earn a little bit of armor, even through that anti-nade, but another big one coming in from Moser. The freezes trying to go out. Rockets, Bob dealt with almost immediately, but still Wisp has a lot of space that they can just acquire here. The rally, the amplification matrix so far not finding enough value to get this cart moving towards that golden box, and right now they absolutely need it. This is looking like one of the last few fights they'll have.
This is looking like a nightmare for DICE Gaming, wasting both of the support ultimates, and Wisp once again taking control of the point. The ultimates for them, not all of them have been used. Rocket Attack hasn't used the Valkyrie, waiting for the last moment to use it. Only 20 seconds remaining, and before that it was 5, so really good control from Wisp to make this happen.
The only option you have here is trying to get onto point, getting Cyrus to freeze Cry, and then using the Blizzard, something along those lines, creating a lot of space on cart, but even then you have to follow it up with kills. Malville takes down Cyrus early on though, and then Ares falls. That is horrible for DICE Gaming, as now both their supports are gone. It's up to Biz and Beluga to stall out as much as possible. The self-destruct will be there to try to buy a little bit of time, but Cry taking down Biz. Beluga taken down too, however. If the respawns can get in, it will be an opportunity, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Not quite fast enough, and just like that, Wisp takes their second map. A pretty close one, though.
Yeah, looking really close, but I mean, towards the end, the defense from Wisp was way too strong on that last part of the map. Over 5 minutes that they had to defend, and they did it perfectly. DICE Gaming, it looked difficult because you could see the confidence that they had in the second part. The duplicate turning into the Mercy, trying to get the kill, having some fun, but then they completely lost it. Fight after fight, it couldn't be enough of the kills happening for them to make it. And so that is a really good adaptation as well happening for Wisp. They know exactly what to do, what ultimates. I said that Rocket Attack had to use the Valkyrie, but they decided to be a little bit more patient, let the other support use their ultimate first, and that way they didn't make the same mistake as the enemy team of using both of the support ultimates at the same time and wasting them completely.
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about that BAP ultimate, because when you talk about using support ultimates at the same time, it's usually that they achieve the same goal at the same time, right? Increased health pool and increased healing, or rapid healing along to multiple other people and increased healing. But with that Baptiste, you can try to get a little bit more benefit with the damage that your team's able to do, as well as the healing that can come in from something like a Zenyatta Transcendence, a Mercy Valk, or a Brig Rally. It's just, it didn't quite work out for them. And when you lose both those ultimates, it hurts just the same.
Yeah, it becomes really difficult, especially with the timing. They wanted to the rally just to push in, just to put that pressure into the defense, and then use the other ultimate. But using both at the same time and not being able to make it work out, especially with so many corners, you're able to protect yourself against the damage coming through. So you just want to put that pressure with the rally, and that should be enough. That is exactly what Wisp was able to do and why it worked out at the end. They knew that it was all about playing for the time, and they did it.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and it looks like we're going to be keeping on through here, folks, as we get word from these teams what the third map is going to be. But so far, Wisp in a really good spot, but they did not get here for free. I really like the switch onto the Hanzo, and you kind of have to be a little bit frustrated if you're DICE Gaming. You had such good momentum going into first, going into second, and then on third point, right at the finish line, you just get stopped by a brick wall.
Yeah, first and second, they happened so fast, especially because they won that first fight every single time, and they also had the momentum into second because they had control of the high ground first, and because at the same time, we saw the defense just trying to get to the same positioning, they couldn't do it. So they had, I mean, over 5 minutes, that is a lot of time to make something happen, but they couldn't. They were making a lot of mistakes with what ultimates to use, and it was also some really good control, like we said, from the defense, just being able to hold it, to know exactly how to use it, what to play, and when to push forward and when to back up.
Yeah, and again, that Hanzo coming through. If you're on the side of DICE Gaming, you have to have that D.Va be ready to eat those dragons. There were so many times where we saw those dragons come out, and it just either divided DICE Gaming or got a couple kills, or put them just into general disarray that they weren't quite able to recover from for that fight. However, they're going to have a moment to breathe, recompose themselves, as we are going to be taking a quick break, folks. So stick around. We'll conclude Wisp versus DICE Gaming after this. Folks, we are back, we are live, and we are at the news desk now because apparently we have a little bit of information to pass along to you folks. Apparently, we've been talking a little bit about the match that's going on off stream between Noble and Drifters, and right now it looks like Drifters are going to be coming up with the victory, a 3-1, meaning that they will be securing their place into the Overwatch Contenders spot. So a big congratulations to them on that front.
Yeah, so that means that we already have the 4 teams that are qualifying, and there are going to contenders. We had Redbird that we saw before, Wisp that we're watching right now, Dice the Gaming as well that we're watching right now, and Drifters who qualified off stream. So unfortunately, that means that the team that we saw before and Noble are not going to be part of contenders.
Unfortunately not, but we still have some nice Overwatch action ahead of us with Dice versus Wisp. Wisp currently up 2 as we look towards Havana as our next map into Escort.
Yeah, in the meantime, both of the teams still trying to get a little bit of that better score. Anyone who is able to get that better score is going to be very good for them.
No.
And so far, well, Wisp has it, but they're back.
They're back. They took our spots. That's where we cast from. Dry. They took our turf.
Wait, you're right.
Yeah,
so where are we? We're like next to them?
This is actually like this is actually a first person caster view. This is I'm just looking to my right now and this is what I see. So I mean, we have our VR goggles on right now. You can't see it because the cameras are off because you're seeing game footage, but we have our VR footage, our VR goggles on. We're looking at these dubs, and we can also see the outline of Dice Gaming coming out on the standard double shield composition that you see.
No, I'm just looking at the birds. No, I'm just having fun. Look, there's another one as well.
Oh, but he was creeping up. He was ready to get that backstab stealth damage bonus.
Yeah, he was right on the other side. But okay, look at the teams out for real. Dice Gaming coming up on the defense this time around for Havana. Assault map. Not pushing forward, not trying to hold the spawn. In fact, trying to hold the corner instead with this double shield and with a Genji. Wait, for both sides, there's a Genji.
Very interesting. A lot of opportunities for some big blades here. However, we're not going to be seeing any Ana to complement them. It's going to be the Accretion Halt combo coming in from Dice Gaming. Not quite able to get anybody caught out just yet, as we are seeing these mirror compositions go head to head. And so far, it looks like Dice Gaming able to get a little bit more damage done with their Ashe, as we can tell by these ult charges. Both teams just running head first into one another. At this corner, immortality fields are going out. Wisp has theirs up for just a little bit longer, meaning they can get just a little bit more aggressive. Cyrus trying to hold cart all by themselves, but eventually it's Wisp who forces them back. Dice Gaming has to relent, at least for the moment, until they can get their own ultimates back. Pascal taken down after dropping the window, though. Vega now soon to follow. Rack Attack looked dangerously low, but was able to survive for just a little bit longer, give their team just a little bit more healing. And just like this, Wisp is going to take first in one fight.
Oh man, it seems like it's been forever since I saw a mirror match happening, and it is so exciting. It is all about who gets those ultimates first, and so far, Wisp, they are definitely ahead. Already having the Flogs, about to have the Blade again, and like we talked about in the last match, this meta doesn't really have any Ana to help out the Genji, doesn't really have a Mercy, so it's just the Genji hoping for the best.
A Genji hoping for the best certainly rings true to a lot of the experiences I've had, Dryad, as now we see Dice Gaming holding up once again on high ground in the middle of Distillery, keeping a good eye on those garage doors, making sure that anybody who comes through runs the risk of running headshot into Ares. However, Doomed on this Genji going to be taking a little bit of a flank. The Blade comes in, able to get one, tries to get two, but gets bashed out. Doomed taken down. They have already done the damage, though. Both Briggs going to be popping. Rally Beluga as well has that damage amplification to try to cut through it just a little bit more. Rocket now throwing out Bob. A lot of ultimates being committed to this fight for everybody. Cyrus soon going to be having that blade up of their own. Going to be bringing it out. A risky opportunity here, but takes down the Brig. That was a huge threat, but apparently so is Crawling.
And the payload hasn't stopped as well. The kills are still coming through for the side of Wisp. They still have a couple more ultimates. The clock is going to come through in desperation, trying to make something happen with Biz getting taken down. And with that Wisp, they're looking great on the second part of the map. They're just going to keep pushing forward. They have the supercharger for the next fight. And they also are going to be able to potentially be able to build those ultimates again before Dice Gaming does.
Interestingly enough, these teams only have one ultimate up a piece. They're both going to be damage amplification ultimates. Doge going to be planting that turbocharger and allowing themselves to just lean into it a little bit. As that amplification matrix comes out from Pascal, somebody has to get on the point. It's going to be Cyrus. Eventually falls for their efforts. The cart makes it to second, though. Dice Gaming looking so uncoordinated here on Havana.
The point, no one able to get there in time again. There were a couple members remaining, but now everyone is going to get taken down. It is pretty much impossible for them to get out, and there it is. The last kill is happening, and Wisp, they are looking great. They're looking confident. They're ready to get this over with. They're ready for Contenders, so you can definitely see it now. 4 minutes 40 into this third part of the map. A couple ultimates to use, and Dice Gaming, they look lost.
They really do look lost. They look like they're fumbling the ball here. They're losing a few of their ultimates a little bit too late into these fights. And now they're not going to have any coming into this next one. They'll have the rally, they'll have the bob, they'll have the turbocharger. So I take all of that back. They will have a few in pocket. But Wisp as well, going to be having 5 on board without that turbocharger. And that's a lot of firepower to have to cope with here. You already see these teams trying to exchange shots, and Dice Gaming going to be using their turbocharger rather early. There's a lot of natural cover that Wisp can really take advantage of here, and in fact force Dice Gaming into an uncomfortable spot. It's going to be the Gravitic Flux now coming online. Just like this, Wisp is going to be pushing ahead. Again, another risky investment that does not pay off for Dice.
It's just nothing really working out at this point. All the kills are coming through. The rally as well, the last kills. Genji getting taken down in the blade. You can see the confidence here. There's so much time remaining. Every single ultimate. Wisp, they're just going to get this now.
And we're seeing Dice Gaming try to come in on some swaps, but it's going to be a little bit too late. Beluga, Vega, all trying to get something done, but there's only so much that can happen. And just like that, Wisp finishes Havana with 3.5 minutes.
That seems almost impossible. There are so many cases where we don't even see the second part of this map. But for Wisp, they are committed. They had a really good attack and they were able to keep this momentum. I wonder if it was possibly an agreement happening between both of them just to go into that mirror match and see who could get ahead. And it was Wisp by so much. Every single ultimate, every single initial kill was going their way.
Yeah, I absolutely have to agree. Just looking a little bit more finessed than Dice Gaming. Dice Gaming not quite able to hold their own in that one, but that's okay. They have an entire attack phase to try to match. Maybe if they go similar compositions again, they come out, again, dominant on the attacking side. Doesn't look like it's going to be met in kind, though.
We might be seeing not the exact same mirror this time around. A couple more changes that might be necessary. And it also seems like there was someone disconnecting. But, I mean, in the meantime, that is why seeing mirror matches is one of my favorite things. Because it really shows how connected your team is, how much synergy you have to be able to build those ultimates before. Because it really turns into that. There's no counters. There's no difference. It's all about who gets it first, who gets the momentum towards the end.
Yeah, and I mean, even within those mirror compositions, a lot of times there's a couple of different ways you can play the individual heroes, even though they're all stacked together in the same way. As I mentioned it at the beginning of the first point for the defense from Dice, they had a lot more of the DPS doing the damage, whereas Wisp was content to just heal it all away, wait for that Baptiste ultimate to come online, and then absolutely lean into it. That certainly seems to be the way that paid off a little bit more in the long run, but we'll see if there's perhaps going to be a different strategy coming in this time around.
Yeah, Doomed is back and ready for this fight, ready to see what is going to happen if Wisp, after their amazing attack, they're able to take this map as well, or this might be the start of Dice Gaming making and getting some maps on their bag. But yeah, it is not going to be easy. They have some really good players. Both of the teams are already qualified for Contenders, so it's really just fighting to see who is going to be best, and also for a little bit of a warm-up. And I already like what I'm seeing from Wisp, the very close spawn hold.
Yeah, it's going to be buying quite a bit of time. If you're Wisp, you know you finished with 3 minutes, so you're just trying to buy as much time as you can. Cyrus taking to the skies immediately. And with this, trying to get some cluster bombs out, can't quite find too much. Wisp has to play very carefully here, as if they lose anybody early on and don't have that awareness, they will start to lose a lot more ground than perhaps they would otherwise. Now, as we see them here, Cyrus going on the offensive, continuing to try to rain down those focusing beams, those cluster bombs. Not quite finding too much with it, though. Doing a great job of handling these defenses of the turret, of the sentry. I say of the turret, Cyrus taking a little bit of a wailing there. Torbjorn, the first to go down, but Wisp may have already set the time that they wanted. Now with this amplification matrix, it's looking even better for them.
So far, so good, and the longer they're able to hold this, the better it's going to be for this side of the defense, who are doing an amazing job. Finally, the attackers able to get a couple kills, but still, I mean, they already wasted a minute for the defense.
And they wasted a minute, but on the plus side, the attackers now go into this last turn on first with quite a few ultimates in pocket.
Yeah, like you said, a couple ultimates to use now for the attackers. I wonder if they're able to get as much time. It really seems like it's going to be really, really hard to make it happen to match that time that Wisp got towards the end. But if they're able to initiate with this ultimates, I mean, you have the Flux, you have the Nano, you're able to push in and to get those kills only with that.
You're certainly able to try. Cyrus going to be focusing down that turret, making sure no spare damage goes in favor of Wisp. And so far, we've seen Doomed have a tough time on this Torbjorn to get that full value. Cyrus going to be going in with the duplicate onto the D.Va, allowing for the self-destruct to become active, but it's not really going to matter. Too many members already seem to have fallen. The remake will be there available immediately. Not really going to be going for it, as they know that that's time taken away from shooting. Wisp, however, does hold, still have 2 minutes.
Throughout the defense of DICE Gaming, we didn't really see them being able to hold for that long, but now Wisp already changed the narrative. Really good anti-nade connecting to one of the tanks under the DPS, but that is not going to be enough to stop them.
A Demon Bomb goes in, catches Biz just within the cafe. Not able to hold themselves steady throughout that. Now DICE Gaming has to take another 8 seconds to wait for the regroup.
They don't want to waste any time, though. This can already guarantee that Wisp is going to get more time towards the end. Like we saw in DICE Gaming, they're struggling. They're going with the Wrecking Ball. They're trying to create that distraction, but Wisp is not going to fall for it that easily.
It's hard to fall for a distraction when you have that Torbjorn turret that's just going to be providing that constant damage, and you know it. Doge takes down Ares, and now with that Proton Shield going to be making it a little bit harder for the follow-up to come through. DICE Gaming once again throwing in a lot of ultimates that are not necessarily finding them this value. That Mercy trying to fly away, but I don't know for the life of me where Vega's going to go.
Oh, no.
Aww.
Oh, no. Well, well, that's Vega falling, and the payload also not moving. Only 50 seconds remaining for DICE Gaming to try to make it into this first point. And Wisp, they already used a lot of ultimates, so there is that to take into account for the next fight. The Wrecking Ball using the minefield, yeah, there it is. Just to try to put that pressure. Might be a good opportunity here.
So unlucky for Moser. Gets covered by Croy for every single moment of that defense matrix, but the 1 nanosecond it drops, Ares able to hit the headshot. Looks like DICE Gaming might have an opportunity to lean in here. They're going to see the teleporter coming online, and they're going to know that something is up. Ares continuing to just provide that long-range threat. That sound barrier from Wisp is going to catch pretty much everybody except Rocket. And with this, it looks like they're going to be able to push DICE Gaming back. Ares not going to be able to do enough on that Widowmaker, and this is looking grim.
Oh yeah, Wisp, I mean, we saw their momentum, we saw the aggression happening on the attacking side. They just have to do the exact same on the defense, and there it is, Wisp with a clean 3-0.
A clean 3-0 indeed, and perhaps this was their cleanest map win so far. I mean, we didn't see it get past first point for their opponents. Kind of an unfortunate spot. DICE Gaming had some decent showings throughout the rest of these maps, but Havana just was not their pick.
It just became very difficult after we saw that mirror match. It was just all about the control that Wisp had from beginning to end, using those ultimates, getting those kills, getting point after point all the way until the end with so much time remaining that I can't really highlight enough. It doesn't happen a lot in this map. It is very rare for it to happen where teams have more than a minute, maybe 2 remaining. So Wisp already showing how strong they are, definitely showing that they are ready for Contenders, but it is just the exact same case for DICE Gaming. Also going into Contenders, so both of the teams, they just wanted to get one more point. It is going to be going for the side of Wisp, but overall, I mean, we had such an amazing trial season. Welcome. Oh, yep.
of the night. But here we go. As you said, this is just at this point a litmus test to see how these two teams will fare against each other in Contenders. And overall, I think Dice Gaming definitely realizes that they might have some work to do. But stick around, folks. We're going to catch a few words from one of the members from Team Wisp. You won't want to miss it. Hello, folks. We are back, and in our final interview segment of this Overwatch Contenders Trials season, we are here with Rack Attack from Wisp. So, Rack Attack, hello. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hello.
Now, I wanna kind of move away from looking at this match because we know that, you know, when both teams are kind of locked into their positions in, you know, moving up or moving down, they tend to, you know, ease off the gas just a little bit. But what I want to ask is that since you know your opponents are going to be going into Contenders with you, were there any considerations you guys were kind of analyzing their style or anything like that, or do you think they were keeping it pretty close to the chest?
I mean, our game plans and stuff are very loose. We always come up with stuff at the spot. Like other teams, they're pretty good. I mean, ISU definitely really good. The top 4 teams, they'll be hard. We haven't scrimmed. We only scrimmed one of the top 4 teams so far, and I mean sometimes we take stuff from the top teams. I won't lie, but
Okay.
but that's how we get some thoughts in our mind. But just basically all loose, just picking what we want.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I want to ask you a little bit about why you think of them that are right now, because we've seen a lot of different things. We've seen from Roadhog to the classic McCree to, I mean, pretty much everything. So give me your thoughts on how your team feels about the meta right now.
I think that we're pretty good with the meta because it's usually map decided. There's some teams that force like certain Orisa or ball stuff, but we tend to just like mirror or just go with confidence of our comp that we practiced.
Yeah, I mean, and it worked out at the end. Also, I mean, I'm sure you heard already, but Drifters is going to go into Contenders. They actually came up on top against Noble. So just looking at the 4 teams that qualified to Contenders, and you already talked about it a little bit, is there any concern for the teams that you already went against here? Not the ones that are already in Contenders, but the ones that you faced here.
I don't think that they'll do us that much trouble. I mean, they're good players and stuff, but I mean, we won the other games pretty like steadily besides ISU. So I think that they can practice and get as good, but right now they're not that much of a problem.
Okay, and one more question that it was more about what we saw today. Did you guys agree to go in the mirror match?
On for like Havana on our attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, our game plan usually is just pick what they're picking.
Oh,
And
okay.
So, I mean, yeah, we just
I see.
with Doomed. I mean, we had I think 1 or 2 Koth maps with Doomed scrim time, but the fans get what they want, so we gave them that extra map and made it fun.
Well, fantastic. Rack Attack, Wisp, a man and a team of the people. We love to hear it. Rack Attack, thank you very much for hopping in here, answering a few of our questions. But before we let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to give any shout outs you feel might be necessary.
Of course, my family, the Rack Pack, as always, and the team. I mean, all nice people. Some of them less known than the others, but they're all really good and they're showing up.
Well, definitely a team to be keeping eyes into as we look towards Contenders Rack Attack. Thank you very much. And once again, if you haven't heard it enough, congratulations.
Thank you.
And with that, Dryad, I am sad to announce that we are done with this session of Overwatch Contenders Trials. A sad time, but folks, we will be back at some point in the future. Who knows? Who's to say when that will be? But me and Dryad will be waiting here to cast more exciting Overwatch games. But until then, we hope to see you next time. And stay safe and take care, everybody.